Hi, I'm Henry Sifu Slim Kreuter, Sifuslim. My website is sifuslim.com. I'm a writer and an editor, author, speaker, and if you need help with putting together a project of any kind that requires the written word and then a lot of editing, I'm your man. If you like books, which I do, you're passionate about the reading and learning process and the enjoyment of in reading process, I'm also your man. I love reading, I love writing, I love editing. Here's a great book by Ira Rutkow called Seeking the Cure, A History of Medicine in America. It's a fascinating book. It's very well done. It's got a great cover. I mean, it's a very captivating cover. Wouldn't you pick that up? Look at these giant tanks here of anesthesia and oxygen and the old school laboratory. It's one thing it could use is pictures. It doesn't have any pictures on the inside of the book. We're in 2000 and the new millennium, 2018 is today, and you need pictures. You need to engage your audience with pictures. So yeah, black and white pictures are cheap, of course. Color are very expensive. But this is a pretty good job of a book, and you've got your testimonials on the back. Way back in time, you had Jules Verne, and Jules Verne, a Frenchman, was a tremendous author, loved to tell tales of adventure, of journeys, etc. And so you can take a look at Jules Verne. But even there, they've got the sketch drawings, pen and ink drawings, and that keeps the reader going. I really think pictures and drawings are a great way to engage your reader. So, look at these beautiful pieces of art, original pieces of art, I believe, from the 19th century. So there's Jules Verne. Here's a book called Learning Curve. It's a mystery novel by Catherine Erd, and it's another nice cover. It leads you in. There's a mystery to it. Wouldn't you want to pick up a book like that if you like mysteries? Testimonials on the back, the side, the spine. There you are. So I do. I've written mysteries for many years. I love mysteries, and I write fiction and nonfiction, and I edit both. Here's the story by Leonore Fleischer, Rain Man, and you probably remember the Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise movie in the 1980s, Rain Man. Tremendous movie, and I encourage you to. I'm reading this one in German right now. It's no piece of cake. 1989, United Artists. There's my notes. I'm reading this in German, so my German is beginner's level currently. So I am learning. Falschen or Fälschen is counterfeit. I looked this up a few weeks ago, and Fälschen makes sense to me. Schief is crooked. I've got my little note right there on Schief being crooked. So good book. Now, what you want to avoid. And this is a book from 1998 by James Fadiman and Robert Frager, Personality and Personal Growth. This is a textbook for the educational process and, a psychological book, personal growth book, motivation. What you want to avoid is doing something like this. Now, I'm sorry, guys, but this is egghead material. Only eggheads can read this. It's not engaging. I love books on this subject, and I'm going to have to work my way through it because I want to find the magic in what you've put together. But it doesn't have any flair to it. There are very little anecdote. I mean, I've looked through a little bit in this, and I haven't even found one anecdote. I mean, you need anecdotes in a book like this. I mean, come on, Chicken Soup for the Soul is all anecdotes, and look at how popular that was. At least have an anecdote every 5 to 10 pages. Come on, guys. And some pictures and some drawings. So this is Dullsville, and if you want to learn what turns students off to the educational process, and this could be students at age 20, could be students at age 80, who would want to read a book like this? It's a mandatory book for your class. You've got to read it, but who would want to? It's not fun. In the new millennium, and even before, like the book by Jules Verne, they have pictures, and it's fun, it's engaging. That's what you want to do with your readership. Now, if you're writing just a pure scientific study, that's a different scenario altogether. Back in the day, we used to take a notebook and write down our thoughts. And if I were interviewing someone back in the day and I knew shorthand, I would take those notes down shorthand. Or longhand, if I could write quickly enough, I'd say, hold that, let me get that down. But today we do it with video. It's such a neat way to go. So what I'll do is I'll interview people and they'll share their story. And I've got a lot of experience in interviewing, been doing it since I was a little kid, amazingly enough. Played golf for 6 or 7 hours sometime, and I would interview people along the way. And a lot of times they would say, you know, I was 10 or 15 and still do it today, but these people in their 60s and 70s or whatever age they were, they'd say, hey, that was really good to speak with you today and play that round with you today. You know, and little did I know when I was 10 or 15 that I had been interviewing them the entire time, asking them questions about their life, about business, about life, about golf, what have you. And the opposite sex, you know, good to learn about that, eh? So I've been doing that my entire life, and it's part of my makeup. It's part of my DNA, the interview process. And I've been told I have a bartender's personality. People very quickly come forth with deep and dark stuff, not always dark, but definitely deep stuff. And it's because of my intentions. My intentions are honorable, and it's just my nature. You can't fake intentions. Intentions are what you have and what you develop. So I work on keeping those intentions pure. It doesn't mean I don't argue. It doesn't mean I don't disagree. I certainly do. I stand up for what I believe in. And at the end of that conversation, whether it's been a discussion, a debate, an argument, I hope that we've come to a higher level of learning and understanding. And sometimes I'll sleep on that night, and I'll call the person the next day and say, hey, you know what? I realized after sleeping on this that you were right about X, Y, and Z. And sometimes the person will say, hey, I had forgotten all about that. And I said, you forgot all about something we talked about for 2 hours? Come on. That makes me feel like it was something that was not important. And come on, we spent 2 hours and we dug deep. At least have the courtesy to say, "Oh, thank you for calling," and you know, I'll consider what you just said. And you should do the same. If you've had a debate and you've slept on it and you come up, realize that the other person was correct, call them up the next day, send them an email, and say, "Hey, I was mistaken. You were correct, and I honor what you said, and I hope you honored what I said too." So it's a give and take relationship. So again, if you want to delve into editing, writing content for web, writing books, articles, editing those, and even scientific studies. Come on, I read scientific studies. Throw a little flair into these scientific studies. Come on, scientific community and researchers. Make it a little fun for the people. You know, the paradigms change over time. Now we know that the 1940s and 50s are over. The scientific studies don't just have to be pure fact. You can put in something to lighten the tension. Let's do that so that they're entertaining to the reader. So I'm Sifu Slim, wishing you all the best. If you'd like to take me up on this, we can do a trial run of 10 to 20 pages. I will charge you for that, of course, but I will get that back to you in a timely manner, and we can see what you think. What I like to do is interview people, get that down in video and audio, and then send that to an associate of mine who types 120 words per minute. That's very helpful. And then I get that back and I go through it and do some initial edits, send that to you, show you what we've got. You make your questions, comments, and then we start from there. And it's a back and forth process between you and me, or your assistant or a family member and me. And that's how we do it. And I have a team of people who assist me in this. I have graphic people, web people, proofreading people, because you know, if I read it a few times, I don't catch everything. That's just the way the eye and the brain work. The more you read it, the less you tend to catch. It starts to, in the subliminal part of the mind, you start to overlook things, and they know that by brain and neurology science. So I'm Sifu Slim. If you'd like to take your next step, consider what you would charge me to stop your busy day or your day of enjoyment and take up something I needed help on and I needed your proficiency in. So that's how it works. It's a professional thing. You do get what you pay for. So if you want a professional who always gets back to you, and I do get back to people in a timely manner, emails, I'm usually good in a few hours, if not by the end of the day, and phone calls, the same thing. I will get back to you. I will honor what your intentions are with this book, And that's how things happen. Hemingway had editors, most people do, and I hope that you choose me for your professional project, whether it's fiction or nonfiction or writing for web, writing for a speech. I have a lot of experience in public speaking. Whatever it is, I hope to help you take your game to the next level. In Aloha, I'm Sifu Slim. Contact me through Sifu, S-I-F-U, Slim, S-L-I-M. Der Meister Schlank auf Deutsch, El Maestro Delgado in Spanish, Le Maître Mince en français. And I can edit in French and Spanish. German, I am still working on. Anyway, I'm Sifu Slim, wishing you all the best. Contact me through my website for further follow-up and to meet your initial needs with your projects or project. In Aloha, take care.